Hey YouTube, Forknar here, and today I thought of a really interesting video. It's called Sequencing and How to Use It, because card games aren't just luck. So first off, what is sequencing? Sequencing is the order in which you play cards, to increase the odds of finding cards, or getting rid of dead cards, or whatever. It's just optimizing your games, and playing them in the right order. But how does it work? How can you pull the odds into your favour? How can you at home do it? Well, it's simple, and that's what I'm going to teach you. So, just before I do, most of these examples may be Pokemon, but it applies across all card games. And with that, let's do it. Let's start with an example of sequencing. Let's say you're playing Roaring Moon EX and want to find Professor Sada's Vitality. So you can choose 2 of your ancient Pokemon and attach a basic energy from your discard to each, and then draw some cards. So what do you have in this scenario? Well, you have an Espel with space on the bench, and Fezandipity EX. The correct thing to do would be Nest Ball for a Pokemon, and then use Flip Script. This reduces the amount of non-Sada's Vitality cards in the deck, and increases the odds to find the card. This is an example of sequencing. Nest, then flip the script in that specific order. However, it doubles as an example of thinning as well. So, how did this help beyond just increasing the odds? Well, now there may be another vitality target, like if you got a second Roaring Moon. Or, it could be a useful piece of support. Making sure to have access to it is a bonus to sequencing properly. You may now have 2 targets, or you may have 3 retreat. All of it's great. Like, genuinely, you want to see that. So now, we'll talk about thinning. As I mentioned, doing it in a specific order increased the odds. But what was it really? Well, that type of sequencing is called thinning, or compression, like our dear Battle Compressor here. It thins the deck of cards to increase the odds of finding stuff. But why would you want to discard your own cards? Well, it could be, again, Roaring Moon EX. Maybe you want energy in discard. Or Roaring Moon itself, who wants Ancients in discard. Gardevoir that wants Psychic in discard. Or just getting rid of dead cards. And thinning isn't even deck specific. You could thin the hand with Ultra Ball or similar cards to get dead cards out of your hand to free up space for a Mew EX or something. And dead cards could be anything. It could be a Buddy Puffin or a Nest Ball, while there are no more Pokemon in deck or on bench or whatever. It's simple. It's like, just thin your hand of cards, thin your deck of cards, thin your discard of cards. But of course, not every thinning card may want to be used. For example, if the bench is full, Nest Ball can't be used. However, you may want to hold on to it anyway, to use it to shuffle the deck. And not every deck runs cards like Mew. So holding on to cards like Nest Ball, even if you can't use it to empty out the hand, isn't always optimal. Knowing you didn't Arven for Nest Ball means it may be in the deck to shuffle your Iono hand away later. Like if you Iono'd, put a good hand to the bottom, and then had Nest Ball, you could get those cards shuffled into the deck. By simply not using it, this dead card could save dead hands entirely. But how do you go and make those choices? What goes into playing as well as you can? So first step, pay attention to all of the details, all of the cards. What deck are they playing? What tech cards did they have? What's on bench? What could come into play? All of it's important. If the opponent has Flutter Mane on bench, should you use your active Pokemon's ability first? Or would you prefer to use Iron Bundle? I'd probably use the active and then bundle so that Flutter Mane isn't a risk. and try to see all the details. That's the second step. Sure, you can thin your deck with Artisan, but will the choice of what you grab depend on what you draw? And again, see all the details. If you take a KO, will that stop you using Countercatcher? If you Adrenabrain onto a Budu and knock it, do you go to equal prizes? Should you use Countercatcher first then? Is that good? Yeah, of course it is. That's sequencing. Do the Countercatcher before the Adrenabrain. And yeah, I just talked about seeing all the details, but this one's important. See every detail, meaning use your memory. Some formats, and just some games, have cards like Iono, like Drakloak, putting cards to the bottom of the deck. Deck thinning is deck winning, but you also want to consider, what should you leave in deck? What should you put to the bottom? Yeah, Iono a bad hand away, but also you could Iono a good hand away. And if so, you should leave cards to shuffle the deck. Take the earlier example with Roaring Moon. How many Vitality are in deck? You need to think about that. How many were put to the bottom from an Iono? Think about that. How many are in deck total? Roaring Moon runs 4. Typhlosion runs 4 Adventure, but not every deck runs 4. Are the odds better to just flip the script? Or is thinning and shuffling the deck better for you? And now, this is important. Fixing sequencing. I have seen good players mess up. I have messed up. Even while sequencing well. Especially after long days. A game doesn't need to be 100% optimal to be won. Sometimes, players have to take risks. That's part of the game. But, if you notice you can fix something, even by a small margin, do it. Unless you need it, fixing those odds may change your game. And improving sequencing. It's not just fixing. As I said, even good players take risks, but they can reduce the risk too. There shouldn't be one plan you rely on. If your opponent has a small hand, they may not have counterplay, meaning you could leave something less important, like a one-prize Pokemon for example, as a shield to keep your Pokemon safe. Or you could try to gust up a Pokemon with a high retreat cost and hope that they don't have an out. You'd have to save your other supporters, but it may give you more time to improve your situation. Choosing to prioritize gusting may save your games. But of course, sequencing is a basic skill. I'm not going to teach you the ins and outs of it because there are far better videos for that. I just wanted to teach the concept of sequencing. What is it? What should you consider? Which is why I hope you found this video helpful, understand what sequencing is, and if you did, maybe leave a comment and subscribe. You could even like too. But with that, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good day, night, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!